Names should be revealed.
Definitely, yeah. There will be a lynching though, after that happens.
Why do you think they won't release the names?
I don't know.
Because some of them are in the government.
I think that's why they won't release the names. Would you like to know the names?
I would.
They're not releasing the names because they want to get more information or something so they can nail them, and I hope they nail them. I really hope they nail them. We're out there, we're paying our tax, and it's just not on.
Do you think the names should be released?
Oh, of course. Definitely, I think we've a right to know.
If they have a conscience, they should come forward, and then the money that's taken back by the tax people should go to giving all the old age pensioners a decent Christmas.
Do you think these names should be released?
No, I don't.
Why?
I think that could lead to a lot of legal problems, and it would be immensely unfair for those people who were in there really for legitimate reasons.
If there are people there who have nothing to fear, well, right, that's it, isn't it? If you have nothing to fear, you walk up, your hands up, and right, that's it, I'll surrender. I've done nothing.
In his party.
But we open tonight, as Miriam said, with the continuing debate on revealing the Ansbacher list. It will dominate tomorrow's opening session of the Dáil, as it's dominated the news for a last week. The revelations that leading lights of Irish society were involved in a major tax scam triggered demands to know who benefited. The government insists it's not free to reveal the names. The opposition insists it can and should be done. Later, the parties discuss how and how soon can the can of worms be exposed. But first, this report from David Nally on a scheme designed to guarantee that nobody would ever know.
Rich, successful, well-connected. The 120 people who banked with Ansbacher Cayman via certain Irish banks represent the kind of company a lot of people would like to be seen in. Until now, that is. A lot of rich Irish people are suddenly dreading the idea that their name might be linked to Ansbacher Cayman. In fact, around 25 names have already emerged, some unconfirmed, but several confirmed. The question is, have they necessarily done anything wrong?
It is possible that the people who banked there had tax planning schemes in place, which meant that they are totally innocent and that they were engaging in legal tax avoidance. But on the other hand, when you look at the steps that were taken in terms of instructions not to inform auditors, in terms of numbered accounts rather than named accounts, in terms of the intermediate banks that were set in place, I think that the reasonable conclusion was that there is prima facie evidence of tax evasion in this case.
Evidence given to the High Court last week suggests that Ansbacher Cayman was not just another bank which sometimes helped people evade their taxes. In the opinion of Mary Harney's officer, the affairs of the company were conducted in such a way as to suggest that they were designed to defraud a creditor of the company, namely the Irish Revenue Commissioners. So what do we know for sure about the names involved? 3 businessmen have already admitted having Ansbacher accounts, and several more have been named as receiving loans backed by Ansbacher Cayman. Tony Barry, chairman of the building giant CRH, and Michael Dorgan, a former director of CRH and a former chairman of Aer Lingus, have both said that they had accounts with the bank for above-board reasons and didn't use it to evade their taxes. David Doyle, chief executive of Doyle Hotels, told a tribunal last March that he too had an Ansbacher account, although he wasn't questioned about tax evasion. We know from last week's court hearing that a further 6 former directors of CRH had dealings with Ansbacher Cayman. Several of them have denied being involved, but those who have failed to deny it include most notably Jim Culleton, former chairman of AIB and of the RTE Authority. It's not just those who had money in Ansbacher Cayman who could be in trouble. A lot of accountants and solicitors could be watching their backs as well.
If the professional advisors were simply advising them on legitimate legal form transactions which would allow mitigation of tax within the law, then they don't have any problem. If the professional advisors were assisting them in breaching the law, then they will face charges, criminal charges, and they will also face professional disciplinary proceedings.
People who got loans from other banks guaranteed by the Ansbacher Cayman deposits will face questions also. Last week's evidence portrayed these loans as merely a device whereby those with money on deposit in the bank could get at their cash without the taxman finding out about Ansbacher Cayman. The court was told that individuals, often through their Irish corporate vehicles, could, with the complicity of certain Irish banks, borrow what was in substance, though not in law, their own money. The property developer John Byrne received £17.5 million in loans guaranteed by Ansbacher Cayman, and the estate agent John Finnegan received £2 million in such loans. Last year, Ireland's most famous and wealthy businessman, Tony O'Reilly, acknowledged that he had received loans from Ansbacher Cayman itself. Last weekend, however, he said that he knew nothing of being included on a list of 120 names, and pointed out that since he isn't an Irish resident, he isn't liable for tax here anyway. The question for the government is, should everyone on the list be named now, or should we wait until the High Court inspectors have separated the innocent from the guilty?